Started, of course, back in 1967.
That was 1967, and the anti-Vietnam protests were just starting to crescendo.
Music was just really starting to explode.
Bell-bottoms came in, long hair, beards.
Someone in the community, and I can't remember who, some have said Kirby Hart.
I don't think anybody knows who Kirby Hart is at this point, but he teamed up with Margaret Houchins.
You know, my dad, Kenny Monfort, I don't know exactly how he got started in it, but he and a lot of business leaders, they were instrumental in helping get the foundation set up for Ames. And
they worked up a petition for the election to have a school board run a college.
I remember the election and the formation of the governing committee, which it was called at that time, now the Board of Trustees.
What the board did, I think that the founding board did probably, which was one of the most effective things, they hired Ed Beaty. And Ed Beaty was a doer.
I don't think anybody, the founders included, really envisioned how large this campus would become and how big an institution it would become, because when they started it, they had virtually no money, and they had a little tiny old schoolhouse on the east side of Greeley that they housed their first classes in.
It was the Lincoln Elementary School that Ames settled into down on 4th Avenue, east side of Greeley.
And when Ed Beaty and Margaret Houchins went over to take an inspection, Margaret said it just stunk to high heaven, but Ed Beaty looked back and he said, you know what, this'll do.
Ed Beaty was using an office in School District 6's offices to interview people. And so we didn't see the campus over on the east side or anything until really after we were hired.
By the time I was involved, and prior to that time, most of the people that I talked with or heard from were people who were very enthusiastic about a junior college district.
It's a nice thing about getting Ames started. People made donations or anything to get going. And so it was an exciting time.
I still remember that when Ames started registering for that fall quarter, not semester, but that fall quarter.
I've been a fan of Ames since the first day I heard about it.
There was a lot of dialogue about what a great school it was and how much it had to offer and what an opportunity it was for students in our community to grow. And honestly, I wanted a piece of the action.
How do you think they got the name Ames?
I just remember there were a bunch of fables about how it got its name.
Well, one person said, well, it probably was the Indian history.
No, that I think the story is that first president, he wanted a name that was first in the telephone book.
And that on the site of the first campus of Ames Community College was the Arapaho Indian Mission School.
They had essentially a name the college contest. And the rule was that they were not going to name the college after a person or a thing. So that doesn't leave much. I guess they could have called it the community college, but somebody wrote in with the name of Ames.
And everybody would say, wow, we didn't know that. And I said, well, you didn't know it because that's not true.
I hope I have the recollection about all of them correct, but he said, I want the college to be called Ames because I want people to have goals. I want people to aim at a goal, and I want them to reach it.
That's where the school got its name. The board said our students have aims, and they named it Ames Community College.
People from the old days were lucky to have met Ed Beaty.
My mother was extremely excited when Dr. Beaty decided to take the job and came here.
He wasn't worried about looking too important or too serious.
Dr. Ed Beaty, we became friends.
He was everyone's friend. You could always count on him. He always had your back.
Exceptional person.
Easygoing guy, but also intense, if you can imagine both.
Yes, I saw him as very gruff, and I was scared to death of him.
He had a very strong commitment to the underserved in the community and the people who had perhaps had not all the opportunities that other people had had.
Young man came to our door, and he rang the doorbell, and Mom went upstairs and answered the door real quick, and we took him downstairs, and he was selling magazines because he wanted to go to school. And Mom kept telling him, you have to wait till my husband's done with this meeting because you need to talk to him. So you have to. So Ben and Mom and I sat and visited with this young man for probably 30 or 40 minutes, and Mom kept saying, no, I don't want any magazines. And finally the meeting got over, and Dad came downstairs, and he started talking to this young man, and this guy said, I'd like for you to buy some magazines, some subscriptions, because I would like to go to college. And Dad said, I'll tell you what. He said, you come out to Ames tomorrow, and I will personally enroll you, and I will personally see that you get a work-study program.
There was one summer when I was moving from an apartment to an apartment or something, and I had hundreds and hundreds of records boxed up. He let me put them in his garage for the summer. So, I mean, that's the kind of guy he was, and he would do that for a student.
Dad was a visionary. I think he thought it would do what it's done. I think he thought that it would, and that the community would just keep backing it. And I know that it was his dream for that to happen.
I think the reason Ames is special, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I think it's the people that work here.
You couldn't tell the difference between the teachers and the students.
Most of us kept long office hours, and our students felt free to drop in, and we got to know the students.
When we moved out to the new building out here, there was that huge field, so we had a lot of intramural games, and the hottest contests were always between the students and the faculty. It got pretty rough in the football game. It was your chance to take it out on the faculty.
I think probably the thing that makes it most special, at least in my opinion, is that the people here, the faculty, staff, and the administrators all genuinely care about helping students and helping students learn.
That's the secret, is the people. I saw a promotional piece we did back then asking students about Ames. They asked this one guy, why is Ames so good? And he said, all you had that gather here are a bunch of winners. And that's what we always had, was a bunch of winners.
Dad just thought aardvarks were awesome. It was just like a whimsy. And I remember him saying, aardvark, we need to be the aardvarks. And he just had this funny smile on his face. It was like, yep, we're the aardvarks.
There was a group of walkers that were in a PE class in Greeley, and they would go out and walk every day, and they called themselves the aardvarks. Mark Olson, I think, formalized it, was the one that picked up on it.
I don't know for sure. I keep wanting to blame Mark Olson.
Yeah, we had a neat guy named Mark Olson who was our public information officer.
Mark Olson.
Seems to me Mark Olson, I attribute it to Mark Olson's time here. I have an idea that came from inside his head. I mean, maybe I'm dead wrong.
It was either Mark Olson or it could have been Dr. Beaty's assistant. One of the two of them came up with the aardvark, and it was all a big joke.
Mark Olson, when he became at the Office of Public Information, came up with the idea of maybe doing something with aardvark, bring aardvark back. And so he helped build a team of fictional characters who would be the team, the football team.
I don't. I just know that they go undefeated every year.
The Denver radio stations, some of them picked up on that. And so they would broadcast these made-up scores and activities of the howling aardvarks. We got a tremendous amount of free publicity from that.
Mark Simons from graphic design and printing came over one day. He was a staff member, and he came up and said, "Did you know that the aardvark was the original mascot?" And I said, "No."
Forgive me, Mark, but you used to push it anyway.
And he says, "Can we do anything with marketing?" And I thought to myself, well, yeah.
And faculty, well, first of all, we thought it would cause us a lot of ridicule.
We can do a lot with the aardvark. That'll be just hilarious.
The howling aardvarks. Too funny.
To me, it changed my life.
Today I'm going to make a difference.
I think ultimately that's the question we should all ask. Did I make a difference in someone's life?
My mom, she was all for our kids, us kids to be, to go to school. And we lived on a farm and we did a lot of labor work and stuff. And one day I just said to myself, no more digging ditches. I need to change my life around. I need to get an education.
Ames does make a difference in lives. And in case you haven't been here, you should come and see what we have.
I was a little shaky about it, but at the same time feeling very enthused about the opportunity that Ames was able to provide me and many other students.
I always said Ames was a school of second chances.
So dang, well, this is my chance, hopefully my second chance, since I didn't do well at UNC at the beginning. So picked up everything and came back to Greeley and got a job, started school, and there I am, second student through the line.
I really think that people of the county don't know what they have here.
It's been a huge benefit directly to businesses.
People come to Greeley for Ames either because it's inexpensive or because they love the idea of a small college, but they stay here. You know, they find what a nice community that Ames is.
When we would try to recruit new businesses or help local businesses improve, Ames was at the forefront of our efforts.
It's just a friendly place. Not many colleges are student friendly. This Ames Community College always has been.
If I had to sum up Ames in one word, it would be
magnificent.
It's just a first-class institution. Probably 3-4 words.
That's more than one word.
Superior. Exclamation point.
I can't do it in one word. I'm sorry. It's just not possible.
If I had to use one word, I'd say steady. I'd also say creative.
I guess successful education.
I'd have to say also looking to the future, whatever that word, visionary or something like that.
Honestly, you can't sum up a 50-year-old institution that caters from sort of high-end academics to high-end vocational training, that has students spread all over the country and in some ways all over the world, doing everything from auto maintenance to foreign service. You cannot summarize that in one word. I guess I could say good, but that's not adequate.
One word. Dazzling.
Great.
Fantastic.
A dream come true.
We're all one family. That's all I can say. Familia. What kind of compensation am I getting for this interview? What?